And I try not to Zorra sign all the time. It says you are part and one for yourself. But I really as far as a platform, I'm running a very simple platform. I want to be there for people and listen and keep it change the board. You can't make promises beyond the accessible or all the pieces not to be like platform. And I want to make sure that the school system is the best for you, all kinds of stuff to governance, to ensure schools and the signs and the right time to make sure that schools are safe places. And let alone available. Also, attending whichever are available. Every school in those schools. A little bit about me. Yourself, and then you go away happy. Celebrate your 22nd. I'm here to do that. Right. Four boys, what I'm very proud of. All products of the school board. They were all amazing. All available and open by all means. Sam, don't share time.
Yes. Good evening. As Sam said, I am Leanne Hopkins, candidate for Thames Valley. I'm pleased to be here tonight. I also want to acknowledge and the appreciation I had for the Thames to allow some flexibility and scheduling for us to go through things. So I appreciate that. And as well as sitting with me here tonight to be that flexible. So I appreciate that. And I thank you, the audience, for attending as well. I feel it's important. The campaign has been to inform people how important it is to be informed voter. These results previous with school board trustees that have been talking to people, they're like, I didn't even know you voted, or the name
Sorry, I'm just working. Sorry.
sounded familiar to them, or it sounded professional, and that's how they voted. And I feel trustees is a very important vote, just compared to your mayor candidates, councilor candidates out there. And as we mentioned earlier, $1.1 billion in your tax base, which is a larger budget than the city of London. So it's very important to inform who you're choosing to represent. A little bit about myself, I'm working on prison for Zorra, who over the years has had many concerns with public education and with the representation of the communities within Oxford County. That's one of the reasons why I'm running. My intent is to build stronger relationships with parents, students, and overall communities within Oxford County, as well as being that stronger voice even louder to bring the educational services that we need here within the county for our students to be successful. I've already started building these relationships with many of the municipal candidates across the county. I've met probably 10 of them to see their point of view of their concern from where they stand in the municipality within parts of the school. And I hope to continue this relationship with them because I feel that partnership is important. And we have resources to share and knowledge to share to make better decisions for our students. I also attended some community events recently to again connect to those communities. As I said to many, I cannot present or represent the communities well if I don't know them well. So that is my attempt to get out there and know my community so I can serve them the best I can. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Leanne. It's amazing that we went through this first round and we haven't even heard from our timekeeper yet.
I think we got more time this time than here. I'm just saying. Oh, maybe. We improved.
I forgot to mention that the camera there, the front table is the Zoom, and hopefully people are paying attention. Both. I have time to ask questions, which right now, the microphone. Again, fortunately, Michael doesn't call himself because if Michael's playing with the mic. So I think I'm gonna turn it around so that we can come up and ask questions. A couple things about the question. You won't be on camera. You don't care whether you identify yourself or not. It's not understood right. You have to be polite. And if anybody goes on to knowledge, here's one that is fine. But if I think you're going on, I'll cut you off. So, when you get up there, get to the point. So why isn't there a lineup? You can ask a question to one person, two people, or all three. They all have to be okay. Well, when they start talking.
So my question, guys, is that it's become very apparent since COVID and the pandemic that the mental health crisis with our youth has increased in prevalence. And it really needs to be addressed in the school because we can't just put it all parents. So my question to you guys is how do you go about making sure that there is support in the schools for the mental health?
And you have to pose the question to these guys, right?
Everyone. Yeah, it's fine.
I'd love to, commercial and reversal, and you go first.
So I emphasize the concern, and I've seen that as well. And in fact, personal experiences in my life that have made me well aware of that. As an individual trustee, I would hope to communicate with my other team members, other trustees from the board, talk with people, talk to individuals that are experts within that, decide what would be the best support we can for majority of their individuals. Do I have an exact plan for that? I don't. But it's definitely something to address. I know a little bit the board has emphasized the well-being program, but again, the past things have been last minute, not well thought out at the board levels. I don't know how well that impact will be with that program. So again, don't have a total action plan, but it's something I'm willing to look at and talk to the right individuals so we can come up with a plan.
Let's start with me.
Dave?
So excellent question, and mental health absolutely, it was an issue in our schools even before COVID. Fortunately, the board has committed resources to doing this. I think one of the biggest challenges is communication and getting that information to parents and available to parents. A lot of the time, the board's risk management prevents them, I feel, from adequately and openly surfacing the resources to parents. There's lots of information available, very difficult to find. Very difficult to know the person in London who's running the wellness department to have them come out here and you can work one-on-one. I would suggest a two-pronged approach. As a trustee, I hopefully you got my three-minute opening speech, that I will be on the ground. So I'd like to meet with folks and understand, so I have a very solid understanding of what's going on and how parents need, and what parents need. And then very much to Leanne's point, there's an army of people out there who are willing to go help. We just need to know, and need to make sure that two-way communication is open. So,
So, kind of like what you and both said. It was an issue before COVID just exacerbated it. The plans that the board has, that's kind of their main goal this year is to work improving mental health. But again, communication needs to be better. Not just for the whole, but individual schools. They don't really tell you what there is offered. So I think it's cooperation with parents, the board, trustees, get that information out. There's like you said, they have these programs, rather getting out the information, letting parents, students know that they're available. If they need them, they can use them. Thank you. Next person in line. Oh, good.
I have a question. I don't have children in school at the current time. However, this may be the wrong set of people to ask questions for. Chelmsford's growing leaps and bounds. As you can see from the school, having all these outhouses outside of buildings for the students. And it's not going to get any better. It's going to get worse. It's not going to get any better. It's going to get worse because we're getting new parents, new housing. So that means an influx of more people, children, and everything else like that. Is the board looking at that now, or are they going to be reactive or proactive on getting to have the school expanded and everything else like that? Reactive versus proactive, which I always see, and when my kids were in school, it's reactive.
So none of the candidates are incumbent, but we need to really ask what would be.
What are your plans for this? Because I mean, Chelmsford is growing in leaps and bounds.
they have the resources to share with us at the board, and we need to take that into account. Right now, there's no working relationship, and as Dave said, these old data, old timing models that just don't work. I understand there can be these cycle through things, and there can be laws.
Yeah. Remember what I just said? Now we're. There's still no more questions.
Well, I have another one. So my other question would be, I just had a meeting at TPS. It was Mr. Dixon, and he still to this day, Rowan's in grade 8, and there's still not enough resources in our county. And whereas London is, it's just crazy how many resources are there for the kids. What are your plans to ensure that our kids have access and the resources to everything that the city kids, and I say that coming from the city of London, what are your plans to ensure that our kids have the same access to resources?
So the big, or the best way to answer that would be is we have to work better with the city. Realtors have to do a better job. I know that's asking a lot. And with city trustees, I think that comes out and go beyond the borders of the city of London. Yeah, we just have to, but we have to have better representation fighting for that. And the last 4 years, I haven't seen it. Well, thank you, and sorry everybody in line, but that's the end of the question. Time to turn off the end.
Well, again, I'm Leanne Hawkins, running for public school trustee. I've always had the passion to serve others, and my community. As your next Thames Valley District School Board trustee, I would dedicate myself representing and advocating for Oxford County communities and pushing for better government within the board to ensure your elected officials are the ones making the decisions that are best for our students and our communities that we live in. Thank you.
Like we're going with some lots of fun stuff about me. I'm going to give you 3 quick points and then off them. I currently sit on many boards, so I have open and lots of experience in governance. I believe I can help that at the board level, help move things forward. I'm a professional project manager. I manage projects that rival within the school. I think I can help staff and the board understand some of the intricacies concerns we talked about. In the past, I've able to fundraise a small tiny group of people over $1 million result. Those sorts of unique opportunities I want to seek out, work with my partners on the board. It reps both for the pay attention to that $1 million should be for our children.
Yeah. Once again, I'd like to thank you for questions. There's a saying, like, don't like what you see, you change what you want to see. Main reason I decided to run. Tired of watching representation that we had from our trustees get worse and worse with every 4 years. And it's time to step up and actually represent the needs of parents and constituents. I sort of like so that's for this, the end of this panel, so please a round of applause for thank you. You don't know who you are. Yeah.
We didn't tell any jokes yet. I know.
Say a couple just like
He says he's not happy with his microphone.
Our next round is the 3 candidates for one position on the London East Conference School Board. And the same rules apply. We'll start by going in alphabetical order by turning, 10-minute introduction. Anna?
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here. My name is Anna Paul. I am a resident of Football. I am a proud immigrant of 35 years for this country. I currently work as a service coordinator and child advocate for Family Service Toronto, where I advocate for the inclusion of children, youth,
and young adults, especially low diagnosis and medically fragile diagnoses, and helping them become engaged in school, community, and doing activities that will promote their self. I hope to bring that to the school board, where I'm more engaged with family. I will say that last week was a London School Board debate. And one of the questions to us was how we will engage parents. And it was both sad to hear someone from the incumbents say that they have never spoken to a parent outside of the superintendent level at a school. And I thought to myself, how sad is that? That people, that it's okay that you only go to the superintendent to get information about what's happening in a school that you represent. My hope is that if I become the next leader, that I will put forward policies and ask for that change. Currently, it's just a guideline, but I'm hoping to put forward policies that will actually make for trustees to be able to access parent groups, student council, and have parents be able to come at any time, any time of the day, to talk to us if they have. That is who I am, and that is what I'm running.
You. Yes, I'm Mary Contact Holmes, and I am your sitting trustee of London District Catholic School Board since 2000. So I was born and raised in Woodstock, went to St. Mary's Elementary School, then to WCI. Then I went to Western Huron College, where I got my honors degree. Then I took a year and went to France to fine tune my French speaking skills, because I'm a and then I came back to U of T to do my bachelor of ed. Got a job in Toronto from right out of the get-go. Got married, had 2 children, and then decided to move home to Woodstock, where my mother would help me with those 2 children. She did such an amazing job, we had 2 more. And so now we have this wonderful family, and they've all gone through the system. I taught at St. Mary's, like I said, for 16 years. So then I became a curriculum coordinator with the board office. I was hired to do that. And in the meantime, I took my master's of education in managing educational change. And I did my principal's courses. So I've sort of done the gamut of everything to do with education from K to 12. And then I taught at Althouse, and I taught at Newville, working with practice teachers, and I taught at Fanshawe. And I'm not done yet. I've got lots going on. In 2015, I became trustee, and that was an honor to take on. And I became a voice for Oxford County. I was that voice. I did attend every school event. I did work with the parent, which is the parent committees at the schools, the parent committees. I would invite myself to the first one and then have them invite me back so I could explain their power, the power the parents have. They have way more power than they think they do, and I believe that I'm one of those people that have been empowering parents in my role. So education has been my blood force, it's been my life force, it's been the focus of my life. I've seen a lot, and what I have to say about education is it's necessary, it's essential, and it's awesome, except when it's not. And it's not a lot. So I had to raise my voice in ways I've never had to before. And luckily I've had the experience and the passion from my positions and perspective to really say things that made sense. Doesn't mean they listen all the time. I'm still learning how to do that, but I'm doing the work. And what have I learned? Well, is that time? This, I learned a lot.
Now it's time for questions.
Yay!
So as you know, our local Catholic school in Tensford are closed. So now my kids are bused out of the community. So they actually ride the bus 2.5 hours a day to get to school. Which if they go to a French immersion program, so a little bit of that is expected. But now if we choose St. Mary's High School at Woodstock, I guess the bus is very long now. They have to go to WCI and change buses. So, and we've also, even in the public board, we're having bus driver shortages, canceled routes. I just didn't know if you had any current plans or future plans to deal with the busing.
Very enjoyable.
Yes, this is a huge problem, but there's so many huge problems that have come out of COVID, but this one is particularly menacing. The fact that we in Oxford do not get as much going on, it was mentioned with Thames Valley, and it's true. And there's a lot of fighting that has to happen. And anybody that knows me is I'll take on the fight, bring back programs that were taken away, bringing back classrooms, JK classroom that got taken away. And the busing, the whole business of closing this school should not have happened. It was a lack of foresight, just like the 2 other schools in Oxford, and we cannot let this happen. They didn't see it coming. Everybody knew it was going to happen, except the board. And I have been mad at them ever since, and I have working with them, and we have a new director this year, and he promises me that we're gonna fix these problems. So I've already got his ear. We're gonna make that.
Anna?
So I'm new, and so busing is an interesting thing because we take schools out of our life. And in some regards, I believe that you don't see it coming, and in other regards, I don't, that you don't see the foreclosures of schools coming. So it means that your children have to bus 2.5 hours outside of the city. We have a mayor here that fought long and hard with his municipal counterparts and his school trustees to stop the closure of one of his schools, and he was very, very successful. So I think if those who were in power at the board at the time of those schools to be closed down had a better relationship with those in the municipality and their parent groups and everybody that was involved in fighting to stop the closure, it could have been possible to stop those closures.
Your bell has a funny tone kind of.
I know, it's going on.
Well, you can say another word. More questions, please? I guess you say another, oh, thank you.
So you're already very at this sort of the Oxford area, but there are a lot of students who don't go to school. Zorra, how are you going to take care of that?
Anna, you go first.
You're right, there's not just in Zorra, we have children who are across our country, not going to the schools in which they live. They're being bused to London, they're being bused to St. Thomas, and it's not okay. And how do we do that? We have to bring better policies into effect that put our schools in our rural communities on the same playing ground as those of London. Because London absorbs huge amounts of the budget, and many families that I've spoken to feel that the county gets what's left over, and there's not a voice that is fighting for the county to ensure that that's not. And I hope to be able to advocate and make sure that the voice of this county, the 7 towns that live under this county, are heard.
Mary?
Yes, this is an issue, and I go back to how it happened, and it should not have happened. And now we have to use every amount of intelligence and creative problem solving to find a solution that will somehow bring back that, the focus on having schools and programs ready for everybody in every county, in every part of the county. There are solutions. There's just, you have to really think outside the box. So sometimes there has to be a manipulation of place and time for classes and schools. And sometimes we have to change what we expect from a school until we can grow it up to what it needs to be. So we're dealing with that in Woodstock right now, and hopefully there will be some announcements about that shortly. There is all kinds of options to consider. Oh, wow. That's a concert.
Sounds like a school though. Oh, now, no more questions, sorry, thanks for coming up, and we'll go. Okay, there we go.
So I mentioned that I've learned a lot in my lifetime, and the best lesson I've ever learned through everything is to discern, to research, study, pull in what the people say, pull in what people know about a community, and then work it through to the proper end to satisfy the people, especially our children. That's who we need to focus on all the time. And critical thinking is what we want as a focus in our schools. Because without that, our kids are lost. I am doing the work right now. A lot of the work that was mentioned by my friend here. Like there's a lot of work that's being done. I am the one that is the most experienced with perspective and enthusiasm and expertise. I am the right choice right now because you have to hit the ground running this year. And I would hope that you would spread the word to real-life Mary. I'm going to take a quote from assessment that was done for 2000. It goes something like, rural schools are not just a place for children to come and learn and grow. Schools in rural communities should be the life force of that community. And what tends to happen when schools close in those communities is those communities go under. And so when we take our young people, our youth, and our young adults out of our communities and shift them to other parts of our province, to other towns, other cities, that's where they want to go. That's where they want to grow. That's where they found their family. I hope to be able to change that. If you always vote what you've always got, you'll always get what you've always got. So my hope is that you'll vote for change, because I'm hoping to do that.
Well, thank you both very much. I wanted to say about the two panels that just left, that have just finished. My kids are in their 50s, and so they're not going to school anymore, and they're not teachers. So I came close to wondering sometimes, why should I care about the school board? But they're our future. You folks are putting yourselves forward to help build a future that's going to make a big difference for our community. If we want a sustainable Oxford, we need you guys at the table. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
So everybody knows that we have to elect people in 2 wards, Ward 1 and Ward 4. And so these are the 4 people at the table who put their names forward to fill those 2 positions. It's interesting that alphabetical order has put the what do you call competitive? Is that, are you competing against people? The competitors side by each, so the running for Ward 1, to my right are Kevin Stewart and Emily Montoso, did I say that right? And way down there at the other end of the table are the candidates from Ward 4. Steve McDonald and Chris King. And same rules apply. 3 minutes introduction, alphabetical order by turning. So Crystal, you go first.
All right. Good evening, everybody. I am running for your Ward 4 candidate. A little bit of background about myself. I grew up just north of the village of Edinburgh, and I grew up on a hobby farm. I have worked in long-term care for 19 years at a nursing home that I love to put a smile on my face. I've been married to my husband for 15 years, but I met him in high school, and we have 3 beautiful children in the Thames Valley School Board. A few years ago, I became chair of the Zorra Committee with some fabulous community members. And this summer, we got to have the grand opening and have everybody out to celebrate that. And it was amazing to see all the smiling faces and celebrate that opening. With the splash pad coming, I knew we needed a sidewalk in the village of Edinburgh, so I reached out to our mayor, and I was an advocate to help get the crosswalk. I'm also on the homeschool committee, and with doing all these things, I thought, what else can I do for a community? So why not run for a Ward 4 councillor and see what else I can bring to this community of Zorra. Thank you for all coming tonight, and I'm excited to answer your questions.
Welcome everybody, and thanks for coming out. I'm Steve McDonald, sitting councillor for Ward 4, got 3.9 years under my belt of experience now. Born and raised in the township, still living on the family farm, 3rd generation of our family's name. Also chairman of the board for the Beachville District Museum, past president and director for the Zorra Caledonian Society, 2 or 3 other committees that I sit with, including the splash pad or so. And I'll just go on, but sitting on the last council, I've learned a lot about how politics work. The council as a whole, I say I'm a team member. We got a lot of good things done over the last 4 years, and we have agreements and disagreements, but we got it sorted out. Now, I said to numerous people that you want to run for another 4 years, why? And I said, well, we got a long to-do list to get accomplished, and it's going to be very challenging because a lot of the things I want to keep tracking of in the coming 4 years is beyond the scope of just what we as a municipality can deal with. It's going to include punching up the other levels of government, change the rules so that we have something better to work with. That includes building code. I'll sum it up with one thing: preserving farmland. Then stir in with that the housing crisis, our housing affordability crisis, and then the encroachment on the farmland to accommodate that. What do? Well, we want to try and change some of the building codes and change some of the bylaws that we have to deal with, but that's not something we can do. It has to be pushed up a couple levels at county or province. And there's all sorts of other things I'd like to pursue, and that one of them, and following that train of thought, is building up, not out, which means some residents in our little villages might need to get used to seeing a 4, 5, 6, 7-story apartment building or apartment complex going up, and you've got footprint for 40 families in a smaller apartments on Salem on Third. I think the mic just went off. But 3 single-family residences with. So that's one of the, well, 3 of the key things I want to keep chasing. The other ones would be, we've already got, or I should say, finishing off getting the new municipal center built down in Chelmsford here. And part of that is making sure everything's running smoothly with the new child.
Emily?
Good evening, and thank you for coming out, and thank you for the Chelmsford Lions for hosting. My name is Emily Motozo, and I am a councillor representing the 5 residences of the Zorra Township. For those of you who don't already know me, here's a quick background. My husband and I moved to Zorra in 2016. We both grew up in small farming communities. We knew right away that this place was the place we wanted to raise our children. Since joining this community, I've had the opportunity to do my part by co-chairing the fundraising committee that just brought a splash pad to Embro. I am the president of the Zorra Forum School Foundation, member of the Parent Council, and recently became a board member of the Zorra Skating Club. By volunteering through each of these groups, I have come to realize that I can make a difference in my community. I would like to make more of a difference by becoming a Ward 1 councillor. I am a strong believer in community and know that small communities have specific needs and require a strong and principled person to represent those needs. I am always available by email or phone and would love to hear from you. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. I'm Kevin Stewart. I'm running for Ward 1 Council. Thanks to Lions for organizing this, and thanks for everyone else involved in putting it on, and for the public here. A little bit about me. I live in the village of Chelmsford, on the side of the river, Stock, with my wife Lindsay and our 2 boys. I work as a construction manager with Dallas Dawn in London. I've been there 15 years. Started there right out of college. Went to high school here in Knox County, Woodstock at St. Mary's High School. And I also attended the St. Catholic School here in Chelmsford. I enjoy the outdoors. I play sports. I'm still active in a lot of different things. Working for time, so it's a little bit about me. Technically, living in Ward 2, I've had some people ask me what does Ward 1 mean to you. It's a rural community here in town. I made a quick list of some of the rural roads in Ward 1 and what they mean to me or how they impact my life. So I grew up on a rural property on the 19th line. My dad grew up on a multi-generational dairy farm on the 13th line. My mom grew up on a Cold Springs turkey farm on 7th Ward. I had some late 8s and sleepovers on the 15th line. I spent teenage weekends with friends on Route 62. younger, I worked on a strawberry farm on the 21st line. Hog farm on the 66th, road 66, and landscaping paving some. I list all those things because they're a lot of what I realize is important about this community and what has helped me shape me the person I am. And I'm really lucky that I still get to raise my family here as well. So that has been more involved in our community. I think council is the perfect fit for me. I have a lot of experience in construction, management side of things that allow me to help make tough decisions, find creative solutions to problems. Very much used to working in a team environment. Lots of challenges and changes ahead related to the growth in this area. We need to continue to work with current council and planning ahead for that to be active. I just need from you to be involved and interested. Obviously, the fact that here you are involved and interested, showing up today means everything. What we can use what we learned today to make an informed vote. Just take it a step further and reach out to family and friends and make sure they're doing the same. People you put in charge will make decisions that have more immediate impact and benefit to you and your community than any other vote.
Thank you very much. The questions, so remember you can. I thought you said something. This is my wife here. So. Even though I have a glass of ear. I'll remind everybody you can ask questions to one person, to the people from one particular ward, all four, but don't ask me any. Just get up there and ask questions that are going to help you make a good decision.
My question for all of you would be, what are your plans to ensure that there is affordable housing and that the farmland, and I'm a total city girl, so, but I still know, like, the farmlands need to stay, and because we have so many houses being built, not enough water supply for what is happening, the sewers, everything, like, what are your thoughts and plans on ensuring that we don't end up in trouble, which is where we are headed with all of the new houses being built and not enough resources to supply them.
Kevin first.
I know that you had the distinct advantage here at Chelmsford with some of the newer systems that are now going to take advantage of capacity that already existed at share of wastewater and water supply that used to service that place. So that's an advantage to attract developers. I don't actually have any information on whether that's still the case or not. Whether there's spare capacity, but it comes down to smart planning, and cooperation with the county as well. Ahead on that, ensure that we're planning for the next area of growth in the community for up or in or where it doesn't make sense. Of course, as much as possible, but working with future planning.
All right.
I would say we would need to focus on areas like Emerald and Pittsburgh where those water and sewers are already in place, finding ways of utilizing land that is not able to turn into farmland, like use up gravel pits and things like that. Not again, not about stuff, but there's a lot of farmhouses out there that are sitting empty that could be severed and utilized. Maybe that's something to look into.
Well, the question was two-part there. Number one, water and sewer is not township problem, but the county does that, but the county also all our planning objectives. We get approval for development. So very well aware, long time in advance, head off from the project. So for less easy than that. We'll never be pulling a surprise on them. And second part, I just point out, say, what can we do about the housing, all that, I'll give you an example. Follow from the reason that was with property here. Where we took a step forward, a lot of municipalities wouldn't have done, but we did not want big developer to come in and just like, here you go, build whatever you want, and have 100 or 200 lots for $4,000, $1.5 million home. But no, we want private developer to give us some part, some townhouse, some road. We force them to.
I think again, it's all about planning. I think our council does pretty good with the planning so far and we're coming. So I'm sure there's water and knowing that. And for housing, I think density again, get those properties that are affordable.
Well, here comes another question. Hallelujah.
Okay, addresses all of them. We talked about up and out. Who pays for the fire services? Who pays for the other services that need to go up and out? Who pays for that? Because with up means new fire trucks, means new other facilities that go into place to deal with.
So is that for everybody? Okay, so let's start with Steve.
Well, first and foremost, building back within, I'm not talking 30-foot skyscraper. But the thing is, we wouldn't need any new equipment, like our places are built right. If they're all concrete walls, fireproof, barrier, and sprinkler.
I'm sorry.
And we also,
You were done? Okay,
just 2 seconds,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
2 seconds. Okay, we do have a sharing agreement with the town of Ingersoll too for the ladder truck.
Emily?
I must admit, I'm not extremely knowledgeable about that, but I would definitely educate myself and work with the township to figure out a plan. But I believe that we're not allowed to go over 4 stories now, but don't quote me on that. But that's how much we hopefully we have the resources. But if we don't, we can probably put it in place.
Yeah, I think that means immediate. I don't think it's going far to council. Change the rules to allow it, recent decision there to approve where the one was over the story. I had to go through council, I had to go through township staff. I'm sure that fire department was consulted in that process to make sure that the restored building was something that's going to work. Expands beyond that in the future where aerials are fired. And I think the same process would occur. It wouldn't happen overnight, and obviously that would have to be part of planning.
Kristen?
I don't know much about that, but the fire chief is a part of all the council meetings, and I'm sure she would have something to say if there was ever an issue with that, but I really don't know.
Another question. Well, goody, Steve. Not a goody because it's Steve, well, goody because it's a question.
So full disclosure, I'm not a tour reporter. I'm gonna try to. So, a trustee or maybe 2 or 3 trustees came to you guys, but some wild employee. How do you support and foster the relationship? Can you give me an example? Try to practice.
Yeah, real fast, you think you mean?
Wild and woolly idea threw me off.
Okay, so let's pretend a trustee from Oxford worked with some trustees in London, and we wanted to do this joint exchange program. But it's wanted to visit rural communities or rural communities, some of the programs. Question was asked. So a trustee came to you with that idea. I talked to anyone else. We have a couple of partners on board. That are like, you guys do support that sort of initiative and or the collaboration.
You go first.
Well, definitely working close together would be the next step. I would, definitely, because you can't just be a one-man show, I have to be on board, so I would collaborate with my other three, counselors and mayor, to work on a project that, needs to be done, and I think that would fully increase the idea would be actually kind of cool to get, the kids out to the art farms and help schools to be rural.
Yeah, I'd be open to any of those types of ideas. I think it would just, I need to understand, and I also don't understand who would be the players and making those decisions happen, and it would be collaboration between town council and the school. I don't know.
I am excited to work with trustees, honestly. I think that it would be fabulous to work together and bring ideas together and make the community school together.
And, Steve,
Well, I welcome the idea. I'm not sure how much township could do on its own, but I'm sure I would be 100% for collaborating with the trustees, to see if we could figure out something. Like I know just, we don't have the people or resources to do it ourselves right now, but I'm sure something could be worked out down the road. I'm all for bringing the kids out and letting them see the agriculture.
you're lucky time for one last quick question.
This is,
Quick,
this is for my word. How are you guys gonna communicate with your constituents? The Ward 1.
Ward 1, Kevin, you go
I think just being accessible. Not by email, not by cell phone as much. Open drop-ins into the community. I live in the community, live in the community. In this area, but I enjoy being driving around the kind of roads too, and I know people out there. So I make myself accessible by just connecting with people.
Kevin?
I really enjoy getting out into the community events and joining community, committees. Already in our ward, I joined the, historical society and I've spent a lot of time with that. But definitely still open for email, phone, and dropping in, but,
So now it's time to wrap up. And, we're for 1 minute each, Kevin.
Yeah, I'll be quick, just to wrap things up. Thanks again for having us here tonight. Definitely there a lot of questions you guys might have. I think for me, council's there to work with the Zorra Township staff, who are amazing. What I've seen through different council meetings lately. We're the 5 decision makers, and I think to make those the best decisions possible, we need to have a broad range of views. I make a lot of decisions from the heart based on being a place where we're raising our children. I'm going to use my career experience to make sound technical decisions and bring different unique views that I don't think anybody else has done.
Emily?
I just wanted to start off by saying thank you to everyone for coming out and everyone involved in putting this night together. You guys did a great job. I know I may be new to this, but I really love Zorra, and I want to do all I can to see this community prosper. I am the kind of person who gets things done. As an executive assistant and a mother of 3 in my everyday, I am an expert when it comes to hard work and dedication. I want to make sure Ward 1 is heard. I will not be a seat filler. I am here to work hard for the residents of Ward 1.
Yeah.
simply said at the very beginning, I am running, hoping I can lucky enough to serve as the second termer. The reason I did took this job on council in the first place, because I enjoy helping our community, my community. And I'll just pop it off. And the best part is the hundreds of people over the last 4 years that have phoned me, sometimes late at night, early morning, Saturday, Sundays, holidays, with a question about what's going on, or how do I do this, or how can you help me if I'm having this problem, I help them out. Sometimes not even from just my ward, but other ones that know me anyway. And a couple of weeks later, it's all sorted out and you get a thank you phone call. Makes it all worthwhile. So I really want to keep going for another 4 years, keep doing that. But
Person,
I would like to start off by thanking the Lions Club and HACA for having us here tonight and all of you for coming out and asking your questions. If you have any questions after, I'm free to answer them. I'm excited to sit around the round table with the 5 of us and see what amazing things we can make happen in the next 4 years. I'm excited to be a voice and an advocate for the residents in Zorra and
so at this stage of the evening, we've heard from 9 people, 4 of whom are not going to get elected. And we in Zorra have this bad habit of always talking about doing your part. And I just want to stress that it's so important that those 4 not depart from the community, because they've already shown so much commitment and so much care about the community that I look forward to working with them, whether they're on council or wherever you know. Anyway, let's have a round of applause for
Just take that away.
So you have before you 3 seasoned incumbent politicians. Despite appearances to the contrary, the person on the far right was elected last year or 4 years ago also, but under a different name. And so we have Katie Katie from Ward 3. All from Ward 3. And Mark is our mayor. And although they've been acclaimed, they've all been really keen to try to answer questions because they were looking so forward to having a campaign to work on it. They could have still walked over the door. But anyway, the 3 minutes each introduction and then questions. So let's start with Katie.
Thank you. Yes, 4 years ago when I ran, I was Katie Davies on the ballot. I changed my name back to Greg. That's my maiden name. Different name, same counselor. So yes, my name is Katie Gregg, and I'm the acclaimed Ward 2 counselor for Zorra Township. I moved to Chelmsford from London 14 years ago, where I now live with my partner Ryan and our 3 children who attend IDCI and Chelmsford Public School. I got to know and connect with the Chelmsford community through a variety of volunteer opportunities, such as coaching soccer, co-chairing parent council, advocating for our now closed and famous this evening Catholic Elementary School St. Joseph. I was president of the California Committee for 5 years, and I sat on the Zorra Community Policing Committee. This eventually led to me, with some nudging from community leaders, to run for council in 2018. I began my first term of council with my 2-week-old son in tow, and now I'm honored to be acclaimed for a second term. Over the past 4 years, my lived experience has flavored the way that I see municipal issues, with a focus on building strong, healthy, and inclusive communities, with improved pedestrian safety and access, environmental sustainability, equitable access to municipal facilities and services, and preservation of our rich history. This is what makes up the lens in which I view my decision-making through, and has led to the pride that I feel for the way that I have contributed to the accomplishments of this term of council. I'm excited to take what I've learned, both with the skills I've acquired and the depth that I've grown to understand the needs of the community, and continue to work hard for Zorra, because there is more work to do. We need to continue to improve pedestrian safety and include pedestrian and cycling traffic as part of how we plan for traffic flow. We need to work to increase availability of housing, affordable housing, while protecting our farmland. We have room to improve the delivery of our recreation services and maintenance of the parks and facilities to best leverage our investment on the things that matter most to us. We're developing robust plans to effectively manage our assets, and we need to continue to engage with the public to ensure the best outcome for all residents. It takes work, and I'm excited for the opportunity to continue working hard for Zorra.
Thank you, Katie. This must be your alarm.
I'm telling on.
Yeah.
Paul?
My name's Paul Mitchell. I've completed my first term as a councillor for Ward 3. I also have served, represented Zorra on the board of directors for the Upper Thames Conservation Authority for the last 4 years. I was on the Zorra Recreation Committee, and prior to being elected, I was served 6 years on the Zorra Police Committee. My wife Janice and I own and operate a small farm 2 miles east of Uniondale, where we successfully raised 2 daughters and 2 sons who moved out of our basement and on to successful careers. Our farm is, in my working life, I've been involved in dairy, beef, swine, cash crop, and raspberry growing. So I've lots of experience in agriculture, and I work part-time delivering crop inputs and feed to area farmers. Our farm is also the home for my wife's catering business. She does the work, I do the books. I like the arrangement. Although for pre-COVID, I was in charge of washing dishes and mashing potatoes. I served 37 years as volunteer firefighter, retired after 8 years as district chief of the Uniondale Station. I'm honored to be a life member of the St. Mary's Minor Hockey Association, 20 years as a coach, referee, and serving in many organizational capacities. So I bring a strong background in agriculture, small business, fire service. And although my recreational experience is not primarily in Zorra, I do have an understanding of facilities and that are needed to provide recreation to our people. Anybody that's watched a council meeting knows that I ask a lot of questions, and I'm not afraid to stand up for what I believe in and to argue strongly and sometimes at great length to put those points across. And whether I win, quote, or lose, quote, unquote, the vote, I think my contribution has made a valuable contribution to the decisions that we've made. And we've made a lot of significant decisions over the last 4 years. And as Katie has just mentioned, there are many more to do in the future. So I look forward to serving for the next 4 years with these two people and 2 of the 4 people that were on the panel just previously.
Thanks, Sam. Our community's done great things. We've stopped things like landfill, high-speed rail from splitting our community in half, and school closures. We've also built things. We've built splash pads, we've built 100% renewable energy buildings that cost us all less as taxpayers, and now committed to building mediate space licensed childcare. All that with 7 of the last 8 budgets that I participated in, all being brought in below inflation. The only one that can come in below inflation is the first store budget. So what I'm committed to is more of that. I think those are good things for our community. Those are the kinds of things that I'm doing. Over the last week, I posted on social media and on my blog my full list of what I think the big issues are that we need to address as Zorra, as Oxford, and what's specific to our policy and Oxford policy proposals that I have to address those issues, as well as issues that both Zorra and Oxford lobby the provincial government on, and to some extent federal government on to help us with issues that are bigger than we're able to look after all on our own, and where we need them to help us, or we need them to get away and let us get it done ourselves. Happy to go into that. I'm not going to stop all those policy proposals that I've worked because more than you have time for in the 3 minutes that I get tonight, but I would encourage you to go and look at it. Thanks.
Great. Now, people may ask questions. Maybe we should have had a washer and bring some. I am. Oh, Michael has a question.
So this will be maybe kind of a fun question. So what do you learn about yourself from surgery, and how will you approach things differently after learning it?
Oh, what do you do?
I learned I'm not always right. Which is a tough lesson. I've learned.
There's not the time.
That's no problem. I've learned the mechanics of being on council. My role as a councillor, where I fit in with the other members of council, where I fit in with our senior staff. I've learned how to bring up ideas that I think we should be pursuing, how to write a motion, how to get support from other people on council. And I guess that's the main things I've learned.
Probably I've learned that I'm patient. I take the job very seriously, and I really like to work with other people who take it seriously, people who come prepared, who come with agree or disagree. I like people who come prepared and know what they think and why they think that, really get it debate and really start to make decisions. As Paul said, we're not always right. We should be learning things from each other on council, and it's not about whether we as individuals win or lose on a given vote. It's about the community as a result of that vote. And I think so, that's something that I learned from myself, like being patient with advancing towards the decisions to get things done to move our community forward. And as Paul said, I learned that there have been definitely times where I was impatient. I was wrong being patient. The time that we took to make some of the decisions meant that we ended up with better decisions than if we had stopped short of the time that we took. So the recent decision to build the municipal center of childcare.
I like that.
I think I've learned that, I don't have to learn everything on my own and know everything myself before I'm willing to contribute. I think, I've learned how to access the information that comes from other people, and that in collaborating, you actually get a better result. So I think I used to spend a lot of time at home going down all sorts of rabbit holes on my own. And my experience on council has really shown me that I'm most effective when I have those conversations with staff members, with other members of council, and with elected officials from neighboring municipalities that might be going through similar things. So.
Thank you. Had another question?
Great. As you guys are trained, you guys may have the answer for them. Is fire truck question? You want to go up, not out? Okay, I understand that we have an approval for 3-story walk up apartment building. That's fine. We like existing fire trucks, whatever. Will you ever approve 5 stories or more, or whatever it is? If that's the case, who is going to pay for the fire?
Okay, Marcus, will you ask this first, but be careful not to make this illegitimate
No such thing while the election times. I would approve a 5-story building in the village of Amsterdam Row, like right now. So moving forward. Proposal for the lawn bowling club, when they came forward with 3 stories, I said to my both Zorra Council and Oxford County Council would consider going away and coming back with a proposal for a taller building. If we really need to address the housing crisis and we really need to address sprawl, then we need to densify. And the only way to densify is to build up and build more smaller units. There are definitely concerns around fire, but I think a lot of those concerns are things that we're not familiar with as a small rural community. There are lots of buildings, lots of large urban centers all over Ontario and the world where fire trucks cannot reach. Right? I mean, if you think about most of the skyscrapers in downtown Toronto, those fire trucks can only reach up so many stories. The vast majority of those buildings are not reachable by fire trucks. If the proposal to do that results in a report from the fire chief recommending that we do that, council will have to decide. But there's other ways to do that around fire prevention within the building so that we can address that.
Yeah, there's nothing that we do without being supplied adequate information in order to make an informed decision. So this is something that council has been discussing. Our current zoning bylaw only permits for 3 stories. And so going above 3 stories requires a variance. And this council has looked at amending that bylaw to allow for buildings to be higher to achieve these densities. There's definitely opportunities. The report that we received back from staff that also provided information about what similar municipalities, other municipalities, what it is that they do and how their fire staff manage that. So all of that kind of information is part of what is considered before any decisions are made. There's within building code, fire prevention and fire suppression is all part of that. So within 6-story buildings, there are advancements in how construction takes place that allow.
For former fire chief, first of all, I would support 5 or 6 story buildings in the proper location because to get affordable housing, that's the only way it's achievable. As far as the fire aspect of it, it would have to be a concrete construction. There are municipalities that allow 6-story buildings made of what we call stick construction. So it would have to be concrete. As far as an aerial, those run at least $1.5 million right now. There is one in Ingersoll, it's 10 minutes away, and we have a great mutual aid agreement with Ingersoll. And you have to remember that most of the residents within Zorra Township are at least 10 minutes away from the nearest fire station. So I certainly would entertain the argument or the presentation from the chief, but that's my position now.
Other questions?
This one is for Marcus. It's a very well-known fact that you are very passionate about the education system and smaller communities. What are your plans in this term with terms of this?
Well, I won't be making a presentation. So first and foremost, I've been working with a lot of people in Oxford, Middlesex, in Elgin, and in London to encourage them to run for trustee. You don't have to change all of the trustees there, change the politics of that board. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, I think that we still need to push forward with issues like the Rural Education Task Force, which they shut down. That's obviously going to be up to the next board of trustees, whether they want to revisit that or not. I think that if the election for trustees goes in the way that I think and hope that it will, there's a chance that if not the whole Rural Education Task Force, then parts of it could be revisited, which would go to the question you asked earlier about equitable access for students outside the City of London services. The other thing is, I think that it's probably time for Zorra and Oxford to take a look at specific projects that we can facilitate the school board, try to reach out to them and say, are there specific co-build things that we can do together to try to make things happen.
Any more questions? I'm going to ask you a question. This Sam, I'm remembering 4 years ago when we had an all candidate speaking at Hampshire, and it got right to the end, and the last question that was asked was related to I'll say the perceived tension between Emerald and Hampshire.
Oh, you went there. Sam.
And everybody at the table, of course, said they would do what they could to address that. And I'm just curious to hear from the incumbent, what your opinion, how far have we gone in developing a whole community sense of
So I got a pause. I'm gonna start. That's fine. I think one of the things I think when I answered that question last time, I'm not sure that I acknowledged that there was a rural urban divide or the Chelmsford versus Embro, and I've definitely been informed on how that perception is very real for many residents. I think one of the things that I've seen happening is empowering residents to have an understanding of how projects and communities come to be, so that they have an understanding that they're in the driver's seat in terms of making things happen in their communities. Are we jealous right now because Emerald just got this great new thing? Okay, how did that come to be? Because Emerald got involved and made that happen. And so I think because we have better understanding of how these projects are happening as residents and communicating that out, empowering residents to have an understanding of how to mobilize things in their own communities is starting to debunk this idea that as a council applies, are either favoring one community or another. And I think even just
I'm glad I didn't go first because Katie said basically what I was going to say. I think empowering people to build facilities in their communities, and Crystal and Emily both learned a great deal. They told me from people that did the Water and Wheels project in Chelmsford when they did their project. And we've had several projects go back and forth that are in the works right now. The multi-use courts, the pavilion project going on in Emerald. So I think that breaks down this, well, they got it, why don't we have it? Yeah, they got it because they work for it. You work for it, you'll get it too. As a council, I think being fair with our spending and our facility development, I think that breaks down some of those barriers. Basically, points that keep me. I would
I mean, as someone who doesn't live in either Tensford or Embro, I've never had a whole lot of time for the whole thing, to be quite honest with you. You know, about half the people in the township don't live in Tensford or Embro and go to Tensford or Embro to access services provided by the township. I think this council and councils before, in my opinion, have done a really good job of looking at not, you know, one for you, but looking at where is the service needed, what is the service needed, how do we fund the service and bring the service where it's needed. If that happens, etc. And I think when council does that, I think that over time, I'm not going to pretend that that's immediate, but I think that over time, the community starts to look at itself more as Zorra than its individual places. You know, if I want to skate, I'm leaving my home community in Uniondale, the greater Uniondale area. If I want to, you know, play soccer, I can get to or Harrington.
More questions?
I just want to know, and I think this addressed the group as you said there. What have we done as a council to promote commercial or light industrial into this area? Because if we don't get something different than we got now, we'll be a bedroom community, and there will never be a place for senior people to stay. And that is my concern.
So I guess there's two things there, but commercial or light industrial and a place for seniors to stay. Is that two separate questions? I just want to understand.
Let's call it two questions and make them 2 minutes.
So first thing on commercial then is Zorra is one of the founding members and funders of the Rural Oxford Economic Development Corporation. So that corporation does economic development for the 5 rurals in Oxford County, so not Woodstock, not Ingersoll, not Tulsa. So to attract and develop commercial industry. One thing I would say is I'm not in a Zorra context, I'm not a big fan of trying to attract large industrial investment. It can cost an awful lot of money, take an awful long time, and as you look around anywhere in Ontario and Canada, you see lots of these big companies come, they go. Did they really make a net economic impact in the community while in the time they were there? I think we need to look no further than Tensford to say when it was hard to beat, that plant was here for decades, and employed hundreds of people who paid off their entire mortgage by working. As soon as it got bought up by larger corporations, the clock started ticking and it's gone. So to me, it's highly questionable how big an impact those large employers are. There's a lot of data that says in Ontario and Oxford kind of Canadian context, the largest employer is small businesses. So to me, the biggest investment we can make in economic development is to invest in those small businesses that are right here, right now. There's never going to be a press conference if Ben Sheds up north of 4 hires one more person. But when every one of those small businesses hires one more person, there's a ton of economic data studies that say that adds up to more jobs than that one big front of the newspaper announcement about a large employer coming to town. And I think it's a much more effective use of our economic development dollars, that kind of economic development activity that attract a single large employer. So my short answer version would be, I want to encourage businesses that are here already to grow and the most that they can be, rather than trying to get somebody else to come and buy it.
So with the Maple Leaf redevelopment, and Steve was speaking about it previously on the previous panel, having the opportunity for the municipality to be involved in the purchase of that and then the sale, it allowed for us to look at different proposals from different developers. And something that we said was non-negotiable in that was that there was going to be commercial lands zoned for that. So because of that zoning, what we're going to end up with is a variety, not only of housing, but of uses, including that commercial, hopefully bringing the businesses and services that our community is so desperately needing. And I really see the opportunity for some of those business services to really serve our residents so that they are able to stay in place longer in the community. The second part of your question about seniors have an ability to stay in the community, this has been a huge concern for me. I've had neighbors who have been able to stay in place until the very end of their life, and I've had neighbors who had to leave the community
to move to larger cities where they're able to access the medical care and supports that they're needing. And I think it's just such an immense loss, both ways for our community, both for those senior residents and for the communities themselves when we lose our residents. So we also need the types of housing that is going to allow for our residents to age in place where they have those supports. You've met your neighbors, you grow up, you build relationships, and then you know, when I'm making dinner, I get to bring an extra burger over to my neighbor, and I know he likes a thick slice of onion on it, and having those abilities to look out for each other, I think helps keep people's the quality of life high for our seniors and keeps our communities vibrant. So part of it is having the housing available that is going to suit the needs of the seniors. Your hand on that bell, that's fine. Thank you.
Well, from the commercial end of it, one of the first things this council did, or second or third meeting, was we approved 2 new gas stations in Thamesford, which at the time wasn't very popular. But we now have the cheapest gas anywhere around. I fill up when I come to council meetings. Katie alluded to the development, the former Cold Springs property. There is significant land set aside in there for commercial and retail development. But also the county has changed with our support, the plan to allow business development on farms, as long as it doesn't take up farmland. And the one that comes to mind is we approved the dairy farm to put in a processing facility so that they can make, I think it was cheese or ice cream, and to sell milk directly from the farm. So small industry, and my wife's business, catering business, is on a farm. So those opportunities to not necessarily, as Mark said, there's a lot of problems with attracting big industries, but we like to develop the smaller industries, and many of them are people that are already here. As far as senior living, one thing we've done is gone against the recommendations of our planners on at least a half a dozen to allow secondary houses being built on farm properties. Once again, as long as it didn't take up agricultural land, and at least 2 or 3 of those applications, those houses would be multi-generational, or maybe all of them, if I remember correctly, multi-generational on the same property. So there's more than one way to approach these things, and those are things that we have done the last term, and I'm sure we'll expand in the next term.
Thank you. One time to sum up, I guess, and incumbency has its benefit. You each get 2 minutes.
Ooh.
And Katie, you go first.
By going first, I guess I get to do all of the thank yous. So thank you to the Thamesford Lions Club for putting this together, and all of the volunteers, Sheila, the Belldinger, for making this happen. Thank you to all of you who have come out to learn more about your candidates and engage on municipal issues. And thank you to all of the candidates who have sat in these seats tonight. Even as an incumbent, it's not always easy, but it's important work, and kudos to everyone who has put their name forward for this. In closing, I'm a lifelong learner. And one thing that I've learned in my experience so far on council is that I need to continue to focus on listening to residents. When someone asks a question, they're often asking because they are engaged, they notice, they want better. While providing an answer is part of my role, truly listening has provided me with great insight into the possibilities for positive change for the township. Active listening is a muscle that requires ongoing exercise. It is one that I'm dedicated to working on continuously. It has helped me to become a stronger leader and better representative. I'm excited for the next 4 years to serving you and listening to those who bring their perspective to the table to truly help achieve the best quality of decision-making for all residents of Zorra. Thank you.
Thank you.
Best part about being on council is we get to make decisions. Sometimes they're really big decisions, like building multi-million-dollar buildings or approving multi-million-dollar budgets. But most of our decisions are routine and not nearly, although they're they're also very important. They're planning decisions, policy decisions, purchasing decisions, forming partnership decisions. But the decisions I'm most enthusiastic about are the ones where one of us comes up with an idea and we bring it to council and we try to convince the other people to make the same decision that we did. And a lot of those decisions aren't big and glamorous. They're things like putting in proper washroom facilities in the dressing rooms of the arena, or painting white edge lines on our paved roads. So there's a great deal of satisfaction of being able to convince the other 4 members that that's something we should invest our scarce resources in. In the next 10 days, the voters in wards 1 and 4 are going to have an opportunity to make a decision. Are they going to decide to elect somebody who comes forward with their ideas, who is part of the decision-making process, who's not afraid to speak up for what they believe in, even if sometimes we make two enemies when we make our decisions? I'm not, I honestly can't say I'm sorry that I was acclaimed. It's a lot easier than running a campaign. But I look forward to the results of the people in wards 1 and 4 and the selections that they make as for the other 2 people that are going to work with 3 of us for the next 4 years. What's that?
You should have run in Chelmsford.
That ward is sewn up.
Thanks, Sam. I started by highlighting the great things our community has achieved. And I guess I want to stress that those things didn't just happen. They happened because we had a plan and there was hard work to execute that plan. So we need to continue with the same effort if we want to continue to get the same results, whether it's stopping things we don't want to have happen or building things that we do want to have. We need to have a plan and we need to work hard to execute that plan. I posted my plan, marcusryanzora.ca, and on social media. I write in the Voice every month. I have my blog every month posted on the township website. You all have my mobile number. You can all text me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So reach out to me any of those ways on this plan or any other issue. Council can have a plan, and council should execute that plan as we promised it, but it should always evolve. Don't just talk to us now while this election is going on. We're going to have, as Paul said, big decisions to make over the next 4 years. Some of those things we don't know about yet. When I last sat here and campaigned for office, I had no idea that I was going to be the head of council municipality when the global pandemic first time in the planet in 100 years. Things are going to happen in the next 4 years that none of us knows about right now, and we need to hear from you on those things for the whole 4 years. So please review the plan that I put forward, and we'll be putting that forward to the Zorra Council and Oxford County Council as soon as possible when the new term sits. But we need to hear from you on that plan. We need to hear from you on everything that we do for the next 4 years. Thank you.
We are so lucky to have such a committed group of people in our community. But after you give them one more round of applause and these guys leave the table, we're going to hear from Barb again from the Lions, who are so generously hosted this evening.
I would like to express my sincere appreciation to everyone who contributed to making this evening a success. The ideas and platforms shared between the candidates and the interaction with the audience have made this a very memorable evening, and hopefully the questions you had have also been answered. Let's have a big round of applause to everyone who planned and participated in the forum. Wish everybody a good evening and a reminder to remember to support your candidate exercise your right to vote on Monday, October 24th. Thank you.
No, I was watching. Yeah, have it on YouTube. You're getting real good at it. Yes.